All right, Josh, you sent this piece over about AI in education. Lay out the big idea for us, because your note just said, this is everything.
Look, the big idea is that AI is poised to completely upend education, but not because it's some magical new pedagogy. It's because the existing school system is, to put it bluntly, a fucking disaster. It's not about how good the AI is. It's about how breathtakingly incompetent the competition is.
Whoa, hold on. Fucking disaster is a strong claim. You're talking about these experiments, right? Like Austin Allred's school, where they're using AI tutors and claiming kids are crushing multiple grade levels in a fraction of the time.
Exactly. They're saying kids are doing this in like 2 hours a day, and it sounds insane, totally unbelievable, until you realize what the AI is actually doing. It's delivering the holy grail of teaching, personalized one-on-one tutoring. We've known for decades this is the most effective method, but it was impossible to scale. AI just solved the scaling problem.
Okay, the scalable one-on-one tutor, I get that. That's a powerful concept. But still, the results sound like marketing hype. Are we really saying this AI is a better teacher than an elite, experienced human?
See, that's the wrong question, Ben. That's what everyone gets wrong. It doesn't have to be better than an elite human tutor. It just has to be better than its actual competition, the public school system. Think of it like this. It's Niels Hoven's analogy. We think education is a 100-meter dash where everyone is running hard. So an AI claiming to run it in half the time sounds impossible.
Right, that would be a superhuman feat.
But the reality is the current system isn't running. It's crawling the 100-meter dash backwards and blindfolded. So when an AI comes along and simply stands up and walks, it looks like a goddamn superhero. The gains aren't from some futuristic technique. They're from simply not doing the incredibly stupid shit the current system does.
Okay, that's a hell of an indictment. You can't just say stupid shit without giving examples. What are they doing that's so bad that just not doing it creates these massive gains?
Glad you asked. For 30 years, schools actively fought against teaching phonics, a proven effective method for reading because of ideology. 30 years! Another one. Common sense says you should test kids and group them by their actual ability level. Almost no schools do this. They say it's inequitable. Patrick McKenzie nailed it when he said the system often functions more as a jobs program for adults than an educational institution for children. It's not optimized for learning.
So if I'm getting this right, the disruptive innovation here isn't a super intelligent robot. The innovation is just competence. The AI is simply a competent, patient system that applies proven methods without getting bogged down in bureaucracy or ideology.
Precisely. It just executes on the basics. And the biggest win from this isn't just better test scores, it's time. If a kid can master academics in 2 hours, they get 6 hours of their day back. They get their childhood back to do whatever actually interests them. Sports, art, building things. We free them from the system.
All right, Josh, you sent me this thing and you were clearly fired up. What's going on with Sam Altman?
Okay, so Sam drops this essay, The Gentle Singularity. The whole vibe is, don't worry, be happy. He's trying to sell us this cozy version of the future where AGI arrives and we all just kind of ease into it. It's a nice bedtime story.
I mean, isn't that what we want? A smooth transition? What's the problem?
The problem is it's complete bullshit. And this guy Zvi just wrote a piece that completely tears it to shreds. Zvi's take is that Altman is selling us a dangerously optimistic fairy tale. Altman says that takeoff has started, but it's not that weird yet. Zvi basically says, are you kidding me? This isn't not weird. This is the flat part of the exponential curve right before it goes vertical and rips our faces off.
Hold on, that's a bit much, but Sam has a point, right? I'm not seeing robots walking down the street. Life doesn't feel that different for most people, even with GPT-4o.
That's the whole point. Zvi says the only reason it's not weird is because we, as humans, are too slow. We're too busy with our mortgages and our daily grind to realize the power of the tools we already have. We get the initial shock, then we just go back to our lives. We're not used to it, we're ignoring it so our heads don't explode.
Okay, so Zvi's argument is we're boiling the frog, and we don't even notice the water is getting hot.
Exactly. And this leads to the biggest and most dangerous idea in Altman's whole essay, the idea that we'll just adapt like we always have. He compares this to the industrial or agricultural revolutions.
But why is that wrong? We did adapt. A farmer from 1,000 years ago would find our jobs insane, but here we are. We figured it out.
Because this time is fundamentally different. Zvi nails this. All previous technologies were tools that made humans more powerful. A tractor makes a farmer stronger. A computer makes a knowledge worker faster. Superintelligence doesn't make you stronger. It makes you obsolete. It's better than you at everything, including the very act of adapting. You can't adapt to a force that outthinks you at every turn. It's like a chess grandmaster trying to adapt to stockfish. At a certain point, the human just gets in the way.
So you can't adapt to being replaced. That's a stark way to put it. So if we can't adapt, what's Altman's grand plan for making sure this all goes well?
This is the best part. Zvi roasts his plan so hard. It's basically a 3-item to-do list. 1, solve the alignment problem. 2, give superintelligence to everyone so it's not concentrated. 3, society will just kind of muddle through and figure it out.
Wait, stop. Solve alignment is step 1? That's not a step in a plan. That's the single hardest, most important problem humanity has ever conceived of. And he lists it like it's pick up milk from the store. Is he serious?
That's what Zvi says. It's fucking insane. There are 0 details on how. Then he just passes the buck to society to figure it all out. It's the ultimate hand wave. He's saying society needs to have a conversation that it's completely incapable of having right now.
So if the plan is nonsense, what's the real game here? Why write this?
Zvi's conclusion is that it's a strategic PR move. The essay isn't for us, it's for regulators and the public. It's a message designed to soothe everyone, to say, don't worry, we're the responsible adults in the room, let us keep building, don't regulate us. He wants to keep the path clear to build AGI as fast as possible without interference.
So the gentle singularity is just a smokescreen.
It's a lie. Zvi's final point is the exact opposite of Altman's. Sam says we should go gentle into this new era. Zvi quotes Dylan Thomas and says we should rage against the dying of the light. This is not a time to be calm. This is a time to be fucking terrified and demand a real plan, not a bedtime story.
All right, Josh, I saw this Apple paper blowing up on Twitter. The headline everywhere is that it basically proves these big AI models can't actually reason. They're just parrots. They gave it some puzzles, the models failed, end of story. What's the real take here?
The real take, Ben, is that the entire premise is, to be polite, complete and utter bullshit. It's a classic academic hatchet job disguised as research. They designed a test that was guaranteed to fail and then shouted, "See, it failed."
Okay, hold on. Let's break that down. Their main test was the Tower of Hanoi puzzle, right? They made it progressively harder, and the models just fell off a cliff. Performance went to 0. That seems like a pretty clear sign of a reasoning failure. What's the counter-argument?
The counter-argument is physics. It's math. The harder versions of the puzzle require a sequence of steps so fucking long that the solution literally doesn't fit in the model's memory, its context window. It's like asking me to write a 500-page novel on a single Post-it note and then calling me illiterate when I can't do it.
So you're saying the test itself was flawed. It wasn't about the model's logic, it was about the physical constraints of the output. It literally couldn't write the answer even if it knew it.
Precisely. And that's not even the worst part. The comparison to humans is a joke. No human on the planet is solving a 13-disc Tower of Hanoi in their head. You know what a smart person does? They write a script to solve it. The model recognizing that a task is impossibly long and giving up isn't a failure of reasoning, it's a sign of a well-behaved, efficient system. It's been trained not to waste infinite compute on an absurd request.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a feature, not a bug. It's basically saying, dude, that's a dumb question. I'm not going to spend the next 1,000 years calculating it for you. But what about the other puzzles? Was it just a Tower of Hanoi?
This is the absolute kicker. One of the other puzzles they used in the paper called River Crossing was literally mathematically impossible to solve at the difficulty where the models started failing. They weren't failing at reasoning, they were being handed an unsolvable problem and correctly not solving it.
Wait, you're telling me they put an unsolvable problem in a paper about reasoning ability, and when the AI failed to solve it, they used that as evidence that the AI can't reason? That's beyond misleading. That's intellectually dishonest.
Exactly. And don't just blame the media for getting it wrong. The paper's own abstract promotes this same garbage narrative. It's a fundamental error. They're confusing a model not doing something under ridiculous or impossible constraints with it being incapable of doing it at all. It's the difference between won't and can't, and they're deliberately conflating the two to get a headline.
All right, Josh, you've been deep in the social media trenches. Lay it on me. The entire landscape feels like it's fundamentally broken.
It's a total mess, a minefield of perverse incentives. But let's start with Twitter, or X. They're actually flirting with a genuinely cool idea by officially partnering with Polymarket. The real game changer isn't just using their platform, but baking prediction markets right into the core product. Imagine betting on a tweet or settling a community note with a market.
Okay, that's a killer product vision. I'll give you that. But can they even execute on the basics anymore? I'm hearing the bot problem is worse than ever, but in a new, weird way.
It is. There's a new tactic where a bot replies to you and then immediately blocks you. The initial theory was that thousands of these would deboost your account in the algorithm.
So it's an algorithmic attack?
That's what people thought, but the reality is probably dumber and more cynical. It's a funnel for a WhatsApp scam. They block you so you can't report or block their scammy reply first. The deboosting is just a side effect of their shitty tactic. Either way, it's a massive skill issue for Twitter. The algorithm should see this coming a mile away.
So while Elon is dreaming of the Everything app, the platform is getting overrun by low-tech WhatsApp scams. That's incredible. It speaks to a total lack of focus. What about the other giant in the room, Facebook?
Right. Speaking of broken models, a huge study on Facebook from the 2020 election came out. Researchers got Meta to zap all political and social issue ads for a chunk of users for 6 weeks. The result?
Let me guess, it massively reduced polarization?
Absolutely fucking nothing. Zero. It had no detectable effect on political views, polarization, effective polarization, nothing. The theory is that by September 2020, everyone was so saturated with political information, the fire hose was already at full blast, that the ads were just noise on top of noise.
That makes a sick kind of sense. The system is already overloaded. But what about fundraising? That's what most of those ads are for.
Also, zero net effect on donations. It suggests the ads were so goddamn obnoxious that they pissed people off exactly as much as they convinced people to donate. It's a perfect net zero equilibrium of annoyance and persuasion.
So if the incumbents are either incompetent or ineffective, what about the challengers? What happened to Blue Sky?
Blue Sky is basically tanking. It got one thing right that Elon gets wrong: it doesn't punish external links. But its growth chart is a death sentence. Big spikes of new users, followed by a steady decline as they leave.
Why? Is the product bad?
It's a culture problem. One analyst, Andreas Kling, had a brilliant take. Blue Sky has only one kind of asshole, and they run the place, leading to extreme asshole saturation. Twitter, for all its faults, has a chaotic, multi-asshole ecosystem where different groups keep each other in check. On Blue Sky, if you disagree with the dominant culture, the consequences are way higher. You don't just get blocked, you can end up on a global block list and effectively get kicked off the island.
That's fascinating. It's a monoculture. So where does that leave us? Is there any model that actually works?
Well, then you have TikTok, which I think people fundamentally misunderstand. They think it's supposed to be interesting. It's not. It's engineered to be insanely goddamn boring. It's pure mindless channel surfing.
Boring? How is the most addictive app on the planet boring?
It's the ultimate attention capture machine, just like David Foster Wallace predicted. It's not about serving you the perfect, most engaging video. It's about keeping you in a state of endless, low-stakes scrolling. It's a machine designed to instrumentalize your brain for the sole purpose of looking at a screen. And in that, it's terrifyingly successful.